Microsoft is already done with their E3 press event, and now it's time to move on to Sony. So, hi everybody, this is RRPG here, and welcome back to another episode of RRPG 2 Cents, where I deliver my 2 cents to you all from the 2 cents block, or however I say it from the past videos. But yes, it's time for me to deliver my own thoughts about Sony's press conference that happened on the same day as Microsoft, EA, and Ubisoft. So, and just so you know, I do have a PS4 and a PS Vita, so I'm going to still reserve my judgment to see how well that Sony did with their E3 presentation. And for the most part, it was pretty good, but I do have some complaints that I want to address too, but they're just more minor annoyances. But let's go ahead and get on with it. First of all, they start off the Sony press conference with a new trailer for Destiny, which is the new IP from Activision that's being developed by Bungie. And they also mentioned that Destiny is going to release first on the PS4, and that a new white PS4 bundle with Destiny is going to come out in September. So that was major props right there for Sony for getting to release Destiny first on the PS4. So Sony, good job there. And Destiny, as I said, I'm not really that big into FPS games, but since Bungie is a really good AAA developer that knows about quality, this one, it does have me intrigued. All right, the next game is The Order 1886, and they showed off new gameplay. And for those of you who don't know, this is the new IP that's in collaboration between Sony Santa Monica Studios and Ready at Dawn, and they're going for more of this. I'm thinking it's a third-person zombie survival shooter or something survival horror-ish. But yeah, they showed off new gameplay, and I will say it does look pretty good, but really, are we going to use something cliched as like zombies as enemies? That's kind of getting old. But I digress, as it still looks pretty good. But, you know, I'll just have to wait and see if it, you know, piques my interest any further. But it is coming out next year. Entwined, I think this is a new IP that I think it's an indie game, but it kind of looks like it's I can't really say that much about it, but it looks really colorful. But it got, or is that for Obzu? I don't know. But the thing is, folks, when I was streaming the Sony's press conference, I was having a hard time trying to keep up with everything because the press conferences would always keep lagging for me, and I was getting really irritated with trying to go back and forth with trying to get a steady stream. So, yeah, I didn't really get to see that much of Entwined, but I'll show pictures right now. But I will say, for a new IP, good job, Sony, and you can definitely use some more new IPs. Infamous Second Son. There is a new DLC pack coming out, and it's more story DLC called First Light. And I think you're playing as one of the people that have the powers, like Delson and Cole McGrath, what they have their own powers and whatever. But this character has the power of light, so you're going to be able to play this campaign as this female who has her power, just like you would play as Cole or Delson, pretty much. So, and you don't even need Infamous Second Son to actually play the DLC, like the Infamous 2 DLC, the Halloween pack. You don't need the game to play that DLC, as you could play it by itself. So that's also pretty cool. Now, this one really, really excited me. Little Big Planet 3, which is Media Molecule's new game that they're working on. And aside from just Sackboy being the main hero, there are 3 other companions. One of them is a dog. One of them looks like a big, huge golem, but, in Sackboy size. And the other, I think, is a bird. So Sackboy is definitely going to be having some new companions in this new adventure. And everything from Little Big Planet 1 and 2 will be transferred over to Little Big Planet 3, so that way you can still play those stages, but in the updated forms of what the PS4 is going for in terms of the quality and the visuals. Bloodborne is a new IP from From Software, the developers of Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 and 2. And this one is very grimy and very dark, just like Dark Souls, so that is definitely a pleaser to the eye of many people who enjoy From Software's games. Honestly, the last game I really enjoyed by From Software was actually the Tenchu series, even though I think Acquire actually worked on those games. But for the most part, this definitely looks very interesting. But I'm going to have to reserve judgment to see if it actually, goes along well. Hopefully it'll be a game that will get me interested to play, a From Software game. Now, because the last one was 3D Doc Game Heroes, and that one really surprised me a lot, for being a Zelda fan and all. Okay, next thing, Far Cry 4. There was a new gameplay trailer that was shown. Well, new footage of gameplay being played, and it looks like elephants are going to be your ultimate weapon to take down most of your enemies and that kind of stuff, because they look very indestructible, even though you can, still technically kill them in the game. But, I thought it was really funny that they showed elephants and how they can be utilized into the main campaign to get you through whatever dangers are waiting for you in the new Far Cry game. So I thought that was pretty awesome in a sense. And they also brought up new information on Diablo 3, the Ultimate Edition or whatever it is that's coming on PS4. And they will have the villains from The Last of Us that you can fight in the main campaign. So for those of you who like the villains and whatever was in The Last of Us, then there you go. And gives you more incentive to play Diablo 3, right? And they also showed a new trailer for Dead Island 2. And Dead Island 2 is not being developed by Techland or Deep Silver. Or I think Deep Silver is the publisher, but it's not being developed by Techland. It's actually being developed by the people who made Spec Ops: The Line that just came out recently. So, yeah, looks like Dead Island 2's got a new developer, and hopefully this can actually prove to be a much better success than what Techland did with the original Dead Rising and its sequel in the, set in that same setting. Because the first Dead Island, even though it had a really good trailer to hype up things, it was very, very, very glitchy as a game. Now this one, it really surprises a lot of old school PC fans. If you remember the Tim Schafer game called Grim Fandango, and you really like that game, well, guess what? It's getting an HD re-release on the PlayStation 4, being completely remastered and all. So, yeah, for those of you who missed out on Grim Fandango and want to play it in high definition or play it by today's standards, then there you go. And I know my good buddy 16-Bit Jeff over at the Game Riffers is very excited about Grim Fandango getting a re-release. So, mazel tov to you, buddy. You got your wish. They also showed Suda51's new game, Let It Die. Now, honestly, I know I respect Suda51 for trying his hardest to deliver, new IPs and giving off really good experiences. But I just don't think that he holds the same quality and the same ideas or the same creativity as some of the other Japanese developers I like that are in third parties, like Hideki Kamiya, Atsushi Inaba, Shinji Mikami. Those kinds of people that know how to make really creative games. And Let It Die, it doesn't really intrigue me that much. I mean, the last game that I really liked that was from Suda51 was Lollipop Chainsaw. I didn't really get into Killer is Dead because of the negative reviews, so. And I think it's because Suda51's been using the Unreal Engine 3, which I'm really surprised he's not even using a brand new engine to try and make his games, fit very well for a console. But again, that's just me. All right, Abzu is a new game being developed by the developer of Journey. And if you remember, Journey had that little, what looked like a paper cutout game with that character that had that red cloak or whatever going through that desert. So, and I know that game got a lot of critical acclaim when it came out. So, this game, Abzu, that's coming out from the Journey developer, I would not, give any doubt to them putting another great show. No Man's Sky. Now, No Man's Sky was something that was revealed back at VGX, and I don't really know that much about it, but yeah, it's coming out on PS4. I can't remember if there was good or bad praise, but we all know how much the VGX sucked back in December. But anyway, Sony also announced that you will be able to upload your gameplay videos through YouTube on the PS4. So they're finally adding in some more use with the PS4's share button on the controller. So that is a good thing to capitalize on those who actually upload their gameplay footage through a console or through a game. Like, I think Halo 3, you can upload your gameplay footage from your matches on Xbox Live to, I guess, the Halo Waypoint server or whatever. And like how you could do, you can upload gameplay videos of your gameplay from Mario Kart 8 onto YouTube. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Although I use a capture card to capture my PS4 gameplay footage, so I probably won't use it. I know a lot of people will who don't even have, or who are not really that big into YouTube, but hey, they'll use it. They also announced that 100 PlayStation Vita titles are in development, and one of those titles is Tales of Hearts R, which is probably the only PS Vita game that I'm actually getting very excited for, which they actually showed, because I am a big fan of the Tales series by Namco Bandai. But they did show Tales of Hearts R at E3, but they only showed the game having English subtitles with Japanese voiceovers. But hopefully there is an English dub for this game, because they've been pretty adamant about doing English dubs for Tales games in the West, aside from Tales of Destiny, which was the first Tales game we got on the PlayStation during the PS1's life cycle. But anyway, next up, Mortal Kombat. They have showed a new gameplay trailer for Mortal Kombat X, and it pretty much is the same gameplay that we saw from the most recent Mortal Kombat that we got on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. But everything looks very, very pretty from what they're showing in the visuals. I really do like how Ed Boon and his team at NetherRealm Studios continues to put on an impressive show with what the presentation is like, and even the new characters actually look pretty cool. I think we got this new female and this new really big barbarian hulking guy, too, who has like something on his shoulder to help him out. I think he's kind of the equivalent of the Big Daddy to the BioShock franchise, but who knows. But yeah, Mortal Kombat X looks very interesting and very intrigued for me to actually try the game when it comes out. And they also unveiled a new trailer for the Ratchet & Clank movie, but with the stream acting up, I really didn't get to see that much of it. But they also did announce that an HD remake of the first Ratchet & Clank is actually coming to PS4, even though they pretty much have the HD Collector's Edition or the HD Edition or the HD Collection of the first 3 Ratchet & Clank games on PS3. I don't know why they're doing it, but hey, I digress. This actually could be really good. You know, if it was to tie into something with the Ratchet & Clank movie. Anyway, they also announced that GTA 5, that was released on the PS3 and Xbox 360 to critical acclaim, is also coming on the PS4 in an with a remaster of the PS3 to the PS4 standards. And they pretty much confirmed this to the Xbox One as well, but no Wii U version was announced either. But hopefully that can change for Nintendo trying to shape up their demographic, which they have been showing change. But I'll get onto that with my review of the Nintendo press conference. And they also showed a new trailer for The Last of Us Remastered, and it's coming in July with all the DLC intact. So for those of you who enjoyed The Last of Us and are looking forward to the PS4 edition, there you go. Me personally, I probably won't buy it because I really did not get into The Last of Us that well, because I really think it's an overrated game, in my opinion. They showed a new trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, and I gotta say, it was a much better showing than what we saw from last year. Oh my god, I am definitely looking forward to this game releasing in 2015. And I do have Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, but I am fully ready for the full experience. And they showed new gameplay for Batman Arkham Knight, and I gotta say, from what was shown in the gameplay where you can use the Batmobile, oh man, Rocksteady Studios is really making this their most ambitious entry in the Arkham trilogy, of what they dub the Arkham trilogy that's been developed by them, and I think they're going to be ending their development of this series off with a bang, even if the series continues with new developers. But yeah, I really do like what they've shown with the new gameplay, especially with, as I said, with the Batmobile, as well as launching into the air very high from the Batmobile. You can do all sorts of things, but the only thing that's missing is the Batwing, and playable characters like Superman, or even Nightwing, or Tim Drake as Robin, for that sense. But we'll have to see if they come. And they also, going back to the PS Vita, they also announced that the PS Vita TV, which came out in Japan, and I think it's coming to the Chinese market, it's also coming to the West as PlayStation TV, where you can actually play your PS Vita games that you have physical, or you can download them to the console that the system has, to where you can actually play them on your HD TV. And it does have an HDMI output to where you can actually play those games on TV. But unfortunately, you can only play them through 1080i, so you won't be able to get the full 1080p experience. And not to mention, too, that this is also going to be good for me, because the thing's going to cost $100 when it comes out, and it's going to come out this holiday season. So I might be able to use this as the incentive to actually finally LP some what do you call them? LPs, some PlayStation Vita games, because I do have a few that I have on me that I kind of want to do LPs on, like Muramasa Rebirth, for example. But finally, and last but not least, they showed off the debut trailer for Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I gotta say, even though I was not really that hyped that there was a new Uncharted game in development, which I really thought that Naughty Dog should try a new IP to fit with the PS4, but I will give the game the benefit of the doubt and say that the debut trailer actually looks pretty damn impressive. Everything from the detail of Nathan Drake and from just the environments in general. Man, Naughty Dog sure knows how to put the PlayStation platforms to their full potential, huh? Yeah, and I'll definitely have to see how Uncharted 4 goes along, but I definitely do need to finish up with Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 before coming to Uncharted 4, because it does intrigue me to an extent. So yeah, that was the press conference in general, but before I end off and give my final rating, I want to go ahead and deliver my bad aspects of what I personally believe. First thing I gotta mention is that they did not mention The Last Guardian, if it's still alive or not. And we've heard from IGN saying that The Last Guardian has been canceled, but Sony retconned that and said that The Last Guardian is still in development. And we didn't hear anything if Sony got the rights back to Crash Bandicoot, or if they're making a new Crash Bandicoot for that matter. So, yeah, it's just like, Sony, when are you gonna finally show The Last Guardian? I mean, it's been in development hell for, like, nearly 10 years, or even like 5 years in general, half a decade. We really want to see if the game is actually, complete, or if it's ready to be shown. You're putting us in this suspense like what Square Enix did with Final Fantasy Versus 13 before it became Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. So why did you not show The Last Guardian? It really makes no sense. It probably would have been in your best interest to actually show it at this year's E3 with your press conference, but you didn't. And you only mentioned the Vita, but you said that there were 100 PlayStation Vita games in development, but you didn't even show off a lot of them to actually get people very excited to actually buy the system. You didn't even give it that much attention that it deserves. And the PlayStation Vita needs all the games that it can get, and it needs the killer apps that people crave for in the system. Why are you not even showing that at your press conference? Because you need to get more people to actually buy your portable system if you want, just like you had all those people who bought the PlayStation Portable when it competed with the DS, because you were the only competitor to actually sell more of your handheld unit than any other competitor when they went up against Nintendo. So why are you not putting in that same emphasis with the Vita? I just don't get it, Sony. And last but not least, I'm going to say that only a few games really impressed me at the event. And those few games are Mortal Kombat X on the PS4, Batman Arkham Knight, and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. But other than that, nothing else really caught my attention. It's like, some of the stuff, it was good and all. And also Little Big Planet 3 was something I'm also very excited for. But it's just those four really captivate my interest. But everything else, it just seems like it was more for a Western standpoint than a Japanese standpoint. And that's something that I've been complaining about with both Sony and Microsoft, is that they've been more for the Western sense than than evening out between the Western and Japanese sense. So, but again, I digress, but it's just, I hope that next year they take the 2013 approach and actually give in more incentive with the Japanese approach and evening it out with the Western games, because that's exactly what all three the big three really need when they present themselves to everybody. They need to have an even balance between the demographics of both the West and the East. But other than that, Sony, you actually did a pretty good job, just like last year. I will probably say you did a lot better than Microsoft, even though you both were almost neck and neck with each other, but you were still nowhere near as close to Nintendo. And like I said, I'll be talking about Nintendo in my next video. But for Sony themselves, I give them a B+. It was a pretty good showing, definitely as good as last year. But this goes to show that PlayStation 4, you're still holding it out very strong. But for God's sakes, give the Vita more loving, because that's what it needs right now. I mean, the PS4 is already doing good in sales, but you seriously need to get the Vita back up on its feet if you want it to be very successful, Sony. Seriously, do it. All right, guys, that's all with my thoughts on the Sony press conference. It was really good. And coming up next is my last of the big three, where I talk about Nintendo. So that one's going to be very exciting, and you shall see what my impressions are on why I thought that was the best press conference. Well, not necessarily press conference, but their digital event that they streamed on Tuesday, which is today. But this is probably going to be up. Well, it'll probably be up before this day ends, but whatever. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say on this matter, and tell me what you thought of the PlayStation press conference, or the Sony press conference in general. Did you like what you saw, or were there some games that did not intrigue you that much? So be sure to rate this video, as well as leaving your positive and negative feedback down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content coming from me in the future that you won't find anywhere else. And until next time, this is Double RPG signing off by saying Godspeed and game on, gamers. Have a good one.
You